Hey guys, Brent here. I'm at the Lord Byron Resort, and you see these beautiful plantation shutters behind me? Well, my brother from Gecko Blinds installed them, and he's asked me to photograph this room just to show what the blinds look like, these plantation blinds. So I've got a few technical problems here when it comes to the photography. First one is that all the light is coming from the outside, and it's really dark on the inside of here. So I've got a massive dynamic range, and I'm going to show you how I photograph that using bracketing. And the second one is this room is really large. So if you look behind me over here, it's quite a big room, and I've got to try and capture the whole room. So I'm using a very wide angle lens, which has a lot of distortion. So you've got to make sure you get that right. So I'm going to show you in this video how I overcome these two problems, the massive distortion and the huge dynamic range. So let's have a look at how I'm photographing this. So I've got my camera over here. I've got a really wide angle lens on this camera. I've got my 17 to 40 millimeter lens on a full frame sensor camera. And the trick over here to stop the distortion is to make sure that you're photographing level so that the windows don't distort. They don't lean in or lean out, the edges of the windows. So let me show you on the back of the camera what that looks like when I turn my camera up and down. So if I actually point the camera down, have a look at how the windows, lean in like that. So it's really bad. They're leaning in like this, and if I point them up, have a look at what happens over there. So there we go, guys. I make sure that I got my camera pointed straight ahead, and I make sure that the windows are perfectly level, so they facing perfectly level. That means I don't have to do any work in post to get the distortion right. All right. The second thing I'm going to do is how am I actually going to photograph this the scene to overcome the problem of the huge dynamic range. So I've got very bright highlights on the outside, and it's very dark on the inside. So I'm going to use bracketing over here. I'm going to fix my aperture at f16. So I'm not going to change the aperture so that I can get the huge depth of field. I can get everything in focus. I can get the furniture in the foreground focus, the plantation shutters over there, and what's outside in focus. Okay, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to change my shutter speed. So I fixed the aperture at f16. I've got the ISO also fixed at 100 ISO, and I'm going to change the shutter speed so that I can over or underexpose the image. Okay, so my camera's telling me that 1/50th of a second is a properly exposed image. So let's have a look. If we photograph this, I'll just make sure I've got everything level here. There we go, on my tripod. And I shoot the first one at a 50th of a second. You'll notice that I've got very dark details on the inside of this image, and the outside, the windows look bright, but they're not super bright. Okay, so it's kind of taken the average, and it's a horrible looking shot. I'll get rid of the histogram, and you can see it's a yuck shot. And that's probably what you'd get with an iPhone or any camera in automatic mode. You get this image, and it would look yuck. Okay, so let's shoot that one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot another one stop underexposed. So I'm going to go from a 50th of a second to a 100th of a second. My camera at the top over here, Johnny, I don't know if you can see that. The little dial at the top there, the exposure dial, is telling me it's one stop underexposed. You'll see it's on the number 1 there. So I shoot that, and now the image is even darker on the outside, but even darker on the inside, but the outside, I'm starting to see details in the outside, and I can see what's happening outside there. I can see a little bit of sky, which is not overexposed. So I've shot a normally exposed image, one stop underexposed image. Now I'm going to shoot the overexposed images. So if you remember, my properly exposed image was 50th of a second. That's a normally exposed image. You can see by the little dial over here, my exposure dial. So if I take the shutter speed down even more to 1/25th of a second, it's now one stop overexposed. Shoot that. Let's go to 2 stops overexposed, which is a 13th of a second. And then we go to 3 stops overexposed, which is 1/6 of a second. And you can hear the shutter is open for a very long time. That's why I need a tripod. So let's look at those images. So there's a 1/6 of a second. I'll just get there we go. That's a 1/6 of a second at f16. That's 3 stops overexposed. That's a 1/13th of a second at f16. That's 2 stops overexposed. That's a 25th of a second at f16. That's one stop overexposed, and then there's my one stop underexposed, and there's my normal exposed image. And what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to blend these images together. I'm going to take those 5 images, -1, normal, +1, +2, +3, those 5 images, I'm going to blend them to create one image which is going to look amazing. It's going to show these plantation shutters, it's going to show how big this room is, it's going to show the furniture on the inside, and it's going to show the palm trees on the outside, and it's going to be an amazing looking image. And that's what you need to do when you've got a massive dynamic range image like this, and you're photographing something that deserves a really good image. And that's what I'm doing over here. What do you guys think? Leave comments below. This is Brent. Have an awesome day.